Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So you've asked me to speak on Sankirtan Yoga. Actually, I'd like to hear from all of you. It's wonderful daily adventures in distributing books. Anyone like to tell me anything? Yeah.
Yesterday, Maharaj, I had quite an ecstatic experience. I was out distributing, and I saw this Brazilian-bodied person had dreadlocks down to like here and this nice hat on. So I went up and complimented him on the hair and hat. And I gave him a Gita, and he was just immediately enthusiastic. You know, I could see like a little spark in his eyes just immediately. And I was like, wow, this is great. You know, and so now, before I was about to ask, you know, what he did, you know, professionally. You know, I was going to say, so are you a businessman or an undercover movie star? Before I even asked, you know, it's like you read my mind.
A what movie star?
An undercover movie star.
Unrecovered?
Undercover.
Undercover.
Like in disguise.
Yeah. It's like a joke you say with people?
Yeah, it's a joke. And following in the footsteps of Bhrgupati. And he said, you know, everyone asks me if I'm in the movies. He said, but I am. I've been in 2 movies already, and I'm an actor in this 3rd movie that's being filmed right now. I said, I also like to sing. I sing Sanskrit.
He said I sing in Sanskrit?
Yeah. And at first, it didn't really quite register, you know. And so then I said, so have you heard about the Bhagavad Gita? And he said, oh yeah, I've heard about it, but I've never read it. You know, so I showed him a few pictures from the Gita, and he said, yeah, you know, almost every day I really like to sing Sanskrit, you know, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
This is at the airport?
Yeah, this is at the airport. And then he said, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. You know, I was thinking, whoa, who is this person? You know, so then I asked if he could help out with the donation. You know, because he asked if the books cost any money, and I said, no, you know, we don't sell them. You know, people just help out with the donation. I said, yeah, sure, I'd love to help out with the donation. So he pulled out a $100 bill from his pocket and he gave it to me. You know, I was just blown away. I was like, wow, Krishna, you're so merciful. You know, so then I gave him one of everything that I had. You know, I had DVD and Library of Vedic Culture and Ishapanishad.
Great. He's from Brazil, you said?
Yeah, he's from Brazil.
At the airport the other day in Denver, I came to check in, and the woman, she said, Hare Krishna. So I said, Hare Krishna. And she said, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So then checking in, then I gave her some prasad. I said, this prasad, you know what prasad is? She says, yeah, of course I know. And I saw her name was given Urukad, and I said that was the name of one of the professors of our Prabhupada. Have you heard of Prabhupada? Yeah, I know Prabhupada. She was 60 years old, something. She was very enthusiastic. I gave her a garland and everything. So many people know by the continued Sankirtan Yajna. You have a lot more work to do, though, isn't it? Many people nowadays, it seems they kind of like what they see. It seems like that, isn't it? I mean, in the 1970s when we were preaching, it was mostly people, they didn't like us very much. That was the general response. But it seems that people in general seem to like us now. But to actually think of this as a path worth following, we still have a long way to go to get that. That people think that they could actually start to follow it. So you have to keep on distributing those books. You're all at the airport or different places? All at the airport.
I go to colleges. We set up a table.
We
also do kirtan.
How's the response?
So we're all quite well. We don't distribute so many books, but we meet people and they stop, and some sit down and chant with us. And,
Will you chant japa or something, or kirtan?
We just bring my danga and a harmonium.
And you go on playing throughout the day and then you stop or what?
Yeah, one of us will be at the table,
Mm.
one will be at the doing the kirtan, and one will be like standing up, meeting people as people walk by,
Mm.
and then we kind of rotate.
And you regularly go in the same spot?
We go to about 5 or 6 different schools once a week.
Yeah.
Like we rotate
Yeah.
schools, and go back every week to
Mm.
meet, try to meet the same people. We have a club at one school that we do regular meetings.
Mm. How many people come?
Between 5 and 10.
Mm.
But, it's not as steady as we would like.
Mm. They're Indians or what?
No, all different.
Mm.
At that one school, we have one Indian student
Mm.
who's from Pune. He's originally
Mm.
from Gujarat, but
Mm.
he's known the devotees of Pune. So he's
Mhm.
like our main helper.
Mm-hmm.
Organize some things. But yeah, he brings some of his.
And you distribute books there also at the table, huh? Uh-huh.
Not like the airport books.
Yeah, because the airport is focused directly on pushing out one book after another, after another, after another. It's more like meeting people,
Yeah, cultivated.
cultivating them like that. Yeah. And some books go out. Yeah, it's very important. You have to. Prabhupada always stressed on the young generation, the students especially, if we can bring them in, and then they can be the leaders. They have a little bit more. Supposed to have more brains than others. At least they're engaged in using whatever they've got in this part. So that's also required for organization and leadership. So everyone else is out at the airport most of the time, is it?
Yes. I go every place. Yesterday I did the subway.
Hmm.
LA has like subway. People are just sitting there.
Since when LA had a subway?
It had it for about 10 years, but it's expanding every year. Keeps going farther. All the way to Long Beach now.
Mm-hmm. So how is that? It's quite.
It's bad. People are just sitting there. There's no place for them to go.
You mean on the train when it's moving itself?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They did that a lot in Europe. In Europe they do that all the time. That's what the devotees taught me how to do it on the subway.
Mm-hmm. It's a little noisy though, isn't it? You have to shout a bit.
Nah, it's pretty like.
Mm.
It's not that.
The London Underground's very noisy. It's an old system, I guess.
It's a really one.
Yeah, in India, book distribution on the long distance trains is very good. Because like that, people are sitting, they have nowhere to go, they have nothing to do, and they have money, and they're mostly who goes on the trains in India. They're more, well, they have more money, they're more educated people, mostly. So, it's good for book distribution. Did anyone ever think of, just like yesterday on the plane, one woman sitting in the same row as me had some yoga magazine. Did we ever investigate? I saw they're advertising the autobiography of a yogi and other Mayavadi classics. So, did we ever think of like doing that? Placing advertisements in different magazines? That might be a way to expand book distribution just by sitting. No one thought about that one. Well, placing advertisements in magazines and then They have this Krishna.com, but I don't know how much they're marketing through that. I mean, it's books are available through that. But it seems there should be a good scope for, this pseudo-spiritual magazines and all this kind of thing. No, I don't. I know the faces of quite a few. Yeah, I know Bhakti Sean a little bit. I know. Yeah. We met in the kirtan last night.
Okay, that's the first time?
I met you last
No, especially Bhanavata, yeah.
You know Bhagavata from years and years ago, or no?
No.
Not personally.
I mean, I most of my time in attempting to serve Prabhupada has not been in America. So there's so many God brothers and God sisters I don't know. Because most of them are here, actually. I think maybe 50% of Prabhupada's disciples are from America. I would think so, because it seems like that. Because his main preaching was in America. I mean, so many centers in Europe, they didn't open until Prabhupada left. There was no... All those places, France, Italy, they all came up actually with Bhagavan after Prabhupada left, and then they all imploded again.
Who's that, Bhanavata? Yeah, Bhanavata was one of the best, man. One of the best. He's a sleeping giant. Sleeping giants. And the Omkar is a disciple of Holiness Swami. He's a book distributor.
When you said he's a book distributor, you're referring to Omkar or Prahlad Swami? Both of them are book distributors.
Father like son. He's a book distributor too. Bhagavad Gita's mostly.
Jai.
Yesterday got a $100 donation from somebody.
Right, he was telling from a Brazilian movie actor. Vijay Prabhu is stressing about distributing Bhagavad Gitas because he's finding that so many devotees, they become devotees by reading Bhagavad Gita. Although it's a difficult book, but I mean even for devotees it's a difficult book. But if someone's serious, or they're actually sincere to understand spiritual life, then Krishna gives the intelligence to understand it. So this year in Mayapur, Vijay Prabhu was stressing you should try to distribute
Even
them.
amongst devotees, it's hard to look up.
Don't you think so? Well, there's so many different topics about karma. Krishna himself says it's difficult. Karma, what is that? Karmano hyapi bodhavyang chadi karmana akarmanas cha bodhavyang. Gahana karmano gatihi. That even the wise are bewildered in understanding what is karma, akarma, and vikarma. Who said? Krishna?
Yeah.
Well, that's generally that. Right? Krishna himself's taking the role of guru, yeah. So, well, it may seem easy, but there's so many deep things, and so many.
There's so much truth.
There's so much in there, yeah.
There's so much. It's like, like there's synchronicity. You've heard of that word before, synchronicity?
No, but I can guess what it means.
And that's a big thing in like the New Age movement and stuff too. They talk about like synchronistic things happening. So, you know you're on the right path. And sometimes, someone will have a question in their mind. And
That's so common, isn't it? Yeah.
open a book and there will be like, the Bhagavad Gita seems like it's like that for me a lot. It's just, where Krishna is speaking, it's so powerful. And there's so much truth there. And then, of course, the purport is there, to explain it more. Such a powerful book.
Prabhupada indicated that the purports are more important even than the translations. He indicated like that because he said that because when he was first teaching Bhagavad Gita in America with Dr. Radha Krishnans, Bhagavad Gita, who's a big Mayavadi demon. Prabhupada said it's all right because the translation's okay, but he said his translation is more or less okay, but the purport is more important. Inasmuch, it's not that then Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna says, is minimized, but it means that to understand that you have to go through the purport. Otherwise you can't understand it. I read one edition of Bhagavad Gita before coming to Prabhupada's movement. I couldn't understand, and it was just verses. I couldn't understand anything, and the only thing I liked was at the end he put, may Lord Sri Krishna bless you, and I thought, well, that's nice. I couldn't.
What was that? One Mascaro's, the Penguin edition?
No, it's some.
No,
I can't remember what.
Those are the two I read. I ain't getting nothing.
What?
One Mascaro, that was the Penguin edition.
Oh.
And Christopher Issuer, Bantam Books.
He's a Buddhist,
It's a
right?
little,
Yeah.
very popular one also. Yeah, they're real popular. Those are the ones that sold a lot in the bookstores. Any sense of what that really was really about.
The other day I confiscated a book from one devotee's home called, what's it called? Understanding Hinduism or something like that. Seems like to be a penguin book or something written for Britain. And it said it had about Hare Krishna movement, and it said that many. It's like it seems to be a book written for non-Hindus in Britain to increase their religious understanding. So it said that many Hindu children many Hindus train their children in understanding Hinduism through the books of the Hare Krishna movement. It said in Britain. Yeah.
Well, Raj, how come in the bookstores, like in like Barnes and Noble and stuff,
Where?
like Barnes and Nobles,
That's a local bookstore.
Yeah. Anyway, you go in there, and you go to the religious section, and they have the Hindu books, and they have Bhagavad Gitas, but they never have Prabhupada's Gita. You can order it, but they don't have it on the shelf.
Well, I guess it's up to our devotees to put it in. There has traditionally been a problem with putting them in. It's because we sell them on the streets, and they want to get a markup, but what they want is more than we sell them for. That's why they don't want to take it. Actually, it's more than what they, because we mark it up less than the BBT price, and they want to mark it up. Although in Foyle's bookshop in London, which is the most famous bookshop in London, is very close to the temple, they do have Prabhupada's books. I don't know how they work that out. It's the same problem in India, actually, because we have very low markup, and everyone knows the devotees come around every so often in their buses, and then you can get them much cheaper.
Yeah, we're undercutting them.
Yeah, so they're doing it for business, not out of a desire to spread Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtana. I often thought of doing an edition of Bhagavad Gita just for the bookstores in India, actually, and the train stations, just like an abbreviated version of what Prabhupada has given, and all the time referring to that, because they're selling so many other rubbish books. Why not do that? But I didn't get that. There's so many books could be written.
What Torchlight is doing now.
Oh?
Torchlight.
Oh, is it?
Torchlight, who's that?
Advaita. Who's writing it?
No, it's the same, but it's just a whole different, another cover.
Oh, I see. Or maybe we can use that here.
Advaita.
Advaita. He's doing, it'll be Bhagavad Gita as it is, but with a different. Yeah, they also say that because of the covers of our books, somehow the booksellers don't like it or something. The bookshops.
Too devotional, huh?
I don't know what it is. They say it's. Well, I've heard different devotees talk about this. They say it's too gaudy and too hippie-looking or something.
Yeah, well,
Doesn't look professional, they say.
Anyone who's writing a book to go into those bookstores, they're in talking with their editors and everything. They have a say to a certain extent, in terms of how the book is going to look, because they're so big and they're, therefore they have the potential to sell so many books. So they want to say, what kind of covers are going to be in there.
Mm.
This is kind of Sir's department. He sells to trade.
Mm-hmm.
He does trade shows. He does about 4 or 5 trade shows a year, all over the country. And they do a certain amount of sales. I don't know their figures, but I just can't remember his figures. But he's doing something. He'd like to increase, but he doesn't feel like he's cracked it, so to speak.
Mm.
But they just. This is Dwarkesh. Dwarkesh is from South India.
Velo.
Last year there.
Yeah.
I remember must have been. And
Velo. I go there regularly to that town where he's from.
really?
Mm.
I thought you were from Ranipet.
Yeah.
Well, that's near to Velo. It's what,
Same district.
25 kilometers or something. There's Ranipet. There's a lot of engineers in there. That Akinchan Krishna, he goes there every week now for preaching. There's some, what is it? BHL is there, is it?
BHL.
Yeah. Yeah, Jai.
Very quickly. He got trained up even before he came here. I met him in Mayapur, not this past festival, the one before that. And Shastra Krit is his friend. The devotee was sitting here, the Indian devotee led
Mhm.
just went.
He's from Vellore also?
Yeah, he made him a devotee. And got him here.
Brought him here just to distribute books.
Yeah. And he got trained up even before he got here. He started in Mayapur. And he started straight away, and he's doing very good.
Jai.
He won a marathon last year, the Prabhupada Marathon. Here in Illinois. Very good. Parma Karna is Amarendra's son. This is Amarendra's son. His name is Parma Karna.
Oh. Mahatma was telling me, yeah.
At the universities. So it's a more kind of preaching and book distribution program.
Right. Omkar. No, you were telling me about it.
And this is Bhakti Joe. He's from Portland. He just joined us recently. And he's been doing very well.
Jai Joe. Jobi ho, book distribution koro. Means whatever happens, distribute books.
Jai Ho Jo.
We have one Mataji on the party. I guess she would give the announcement. She had this place.
Is this Argentina?
Yeah.
I saw other books. She's other books.
Oh.
Prem Sankirtana.
Yeah.
Well, I just met him this morning.
Amarendra just.
He's from Croatia or Serbia or what?
Croatia, yeah. He's from Croatia. He's distributing a bit. He's been here for about 7-8 years, and he was distributing.
6 years.
6 years? And he was distributing for a few years over there, I think in Germany and like that.
He's distributed books for like so many years, but it was whenever somebody would give a class and wanted to speak about steadiness and detachment from results, they would use Prem Sankirtana as an example, because he would go every day out and distribute 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books, and that was it. But nevertheless, he was still go out every day. And then at one point, he started distributing a lot of books.
Now he's in the 4th place in North America.
I had that experience also. And before I left for India, I mean, it was less than 2 years after I joined the movement, but in England, myself and 2 other devotees were traveling in a van around England doing book distribution. And myself and Kalyapani, we were doing good every day. We'd get 40, 50, 60 books out there, like that. As other devotee would do 12, like that, 10, 12, 8, 15. He was struggling, but he was really trying. So we it's the same effort, and he was really trying, but And he went on for months and months and months, and then all of a sudden the mercy came and he was up there number one.
Wow. You remember his name?
Medhavi. Then later he went to South Africa and he became the number one collector for building that big temple there.
How long did you distribute books in India that way? You?
In India? Well, when I came, I was on book distribution, traveling Sankirtana for about a year and a half before I got so sick I couldn't travel anymore. Then I was in Calcutta Temple for some time, and then went to Bangladesh, we did as much book distribution, as many books as we could smuggle in the country.
You used to work at Prohibition Rush?
Yeah. Then he took me down to Malaysia. We used to go on traveling Sankirtan together in Malaysia. That was like his holiday from being regional secretary. We'd go out, us two, and then we'd have one devotee who'd do the cooking and driving. Cooking means just preparing. We wouldn't take cooked food, but just preparing the meal. Cooking and driving and bang, that's right, you got it.
Who?
Bhakti Bari, now called Balaram Das or something. So that was our fun.
How's he doing? How's Maharaj doing?
Oh, he's always great on book distribution. He was always ahead of me. Every day he was ahead of me. One Janmashtami, we did a marathon together before. Janmashtami one year. But then they called him back. They wanted him to be there all day, and so I said, oh, at the temple. So I said, well, I'll stay and I'll come at midnight. And then I discovered this Chinese mining village, which no one had ever been to before. I mean, they had lots of money, and no one had ever been there, so I completely cleaned up, had my biggest ever day. It was like $600 Malaysian or something.
So you beat him that day?
Well, he wasn't there. But it was the biggest day either of us had throughout the marathon.
I used to distribute with Swami. He has a similar story to when we were telling about that devotee on the party. He wasn't a big book distributor. He found it very hard. He was having problems with his health, and it just wasn't his dom.
Where were you distributing with him?
Bhgupati Swami.
Where?
Oh, New York. We used to go all over the place. We go to shopping centers and the airport and the train station, the bus station, Airport Authority bus station, Penn Station, Grand Central Station, Kennedy, LaGuardia, Newark, all the local malls around the place.
It's a huge place.
Yeah, well, everybody went out with everybody back in those days. We used to come. So he found it very hard, and he was always, he used to like do 10, maybe 15 books, things like that. And then one day we're at Woodbridge Mall, and it was I think it was just the beginning of the Christmas season, and he comes running down through the parking lot. I got it. I'm getting the mercy. I can't remember exactly what he said. that was the day. Christian just empowered him. And from that point on, he did about like 35, 40 books that day. And he did double, triple what he would normally do. Christian just revealed some sort of a line to him, and he was saying that line. Everybody was buying the books. And he became a big book distributor just like that.
What was his name?
Bhgupati Swami.
Oh, that was Dave Amritswamy. Oh, I see. I thought Dave Amritswamy was talking about someone else.
No, that was him.
We had a good line we used to use in England, because people were walking past so fast. So we'd be standing here and they'd come charging down here. We'd wait till they're just like one step behind us. We say, "Excuse me, do you speak English?" And they'd already be like way down there, turn around and come back. They think we're some non-English speaker who wants some help.
Mm-hmm.
And
you
so,
say with an accent?
no. Which in London, most people in the suburbs in those days, most people did speak English. So it's a strange request.
Yeah, when I got to Australia, they trained me up in a similar technique, because in Australia they just work the streets. Because now they don't have any legal spots or anything.
Right, the same thing in England. We were under constant threat of arrest, and we were arrested many times.
So they trained me up to do this thing where, okay, so here's how you do it. They don't even allow them to train me up.
Paramadvaita Swami.
No, that's Alana.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know. From New Zealand, actually. Yeah.
So anyway, says, this is what you do. You see
No, they both have the same name, isn't it? Anyway, whatever.
So when you see the person coming, it says, you look past them, you look off in the distance, and you go, excuse me, and you have to make like what you just said, like you're somebody there, a foreigner, and you don't know the place. And you just, the person's walking along, and you go, excuse me, and they, yes, and they stop, and they go, can I help you? And then you go, oh, do you? And then you get right into it, because you have to trick them to stop them like that. Same sort of way.
Pretend you're calling someone else or something?
No, you're just kind of looking off into the distance like you're lost and you don't know where you are, the person's walking, like a total stranger in town, like, excuse me. And they're walking, and they look at you, they can see you in your face that, this guy's lost, he doesn't know where he is. So they stop and they go, yes, can I help you, And you go, are you local? Are you from here, from out of town? I'm from here. Well, great, then you get a copy. You get a copy and I'll sign it for you, like that.
You signed it back then too?
No, I don't think it was hard. I learned that from the devotees here.
Jai Hare Krishna, spreading Sankirtana. I know his name became famous in Croatia for doing the Harinams all over Croatia. Well, especially along the beaches in the summer, right, wasn't it?
Winter we would go up north to industrial.
But for public Harinam in the winter? Oh. But you didn't sit down, did you? Like you do.
It doesn't get that cold, right?
Yeah, it doesn't get that cold.
Down south.
Well,
It's
south in summer and north in winter.
it's still very good. This in Osijek, they're telling me they that's how they pay their bills. They go out and do Harinam. They just sit down and people give them donations.
So, Mark, what do you think? Do you think these boys should dedicate their lives to distributing books? If they do that, will they be missing out?
Well, they'll miss out on the material world. You'll miss out on all the things you could enjoy, like paying off mortgages and all the anxiety and Prozac and all that kind of thing.
What about other services? What about getting married and taking some responsibility as a manager or this or that?
All those things are very good. I recommend it for someone else. If you can do this, then why not? We have plenty of others. You have fools like me who just talk. But if you can continue with it, definitely, it's the Yuga Dharma. So if you just do it throughout your life, and then definitely, what are we here for? We want to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the most pleasing of ways. So you can do it. You can take inspiration. I mean, you have Vijay here, Bhrgupati, and between you must have 60, 70 years of book distribution.
60.
That's awesome to use that overused word in America. That's great.
My inspiration. When I came back here, so I was in Australia and New Zealand. I was doing book distribution there, but then when I came back to the States, I had a period of about a year or so where I was kind of flip-flopping around. And then I came back here, I was actually over in London for a year. I went there twice for 6 months. The first time I was distributing books, and the second time I was typical vice president. And then I
Where in Soho?
In Soho, yeah.
Oh.
And they didn't. When Domino left and went to the Manor.
Oh, at that time?
Yeah, right around that time, 10 years ago. It was about 95, 96. He came a couple times. I
Yeah.
don't remember if I was there. But so then when I came back here, I actually came back here as the Bhakti leader, and
Got fired.
it was too hard. It was too hard. Every day I kept watching these guys go out. Vijay, Tara, and they had a crew of about 10 or 12.
Tara was here at that time, yeah.
And they were fired up. They were doing good. I was just back here, just looking after one or two bhaktas. I just kind of couldn't restrain myself. I had to start going out again.
Jai. No, it's quite clear when you come to a temple where book distribution is the center. The whole spirit is quite different from those that kind of tamasic, spaced out feeling where in temples where they have no interest in book distribution. I mean, tell me, like here, Soho Street, Prague Temple, in the West, because it really is a sacrifice. It's to go out and distribute books, and we have the mercy comes through. In India, we do a lot of book distribution, also, but it's in many ways it's relatively easy. So,
austerity's not there quite as much.
well, there are austerities, but different kinds of austerities. The heat and getting out, just getting out and being there is the austerity, but dealing with the people isn't. Generally, it's not so much of an austerity. People tend to be quite pious. So it's like I think of book distribution in India as like going out and meeting friends. You do meet some people who are stroppy, a lot of people who are apathetic, but in general, it's more or less you just show them, and or in many cases we just we have a book table and people come.
You don't get too many people like that man last night.
In India, you don't get them so much. I don't think you have a higher percentage here. The kind of I'm a Hindu and I know everything. That we got 30 years ago. That was all the time. You don't know about Krishna. I'm a born Hindu. It seems more in the West they have this kind of person here. In India, they realize that they're losing their culture and they don't really know. And they of course, you get everywhere. He was saying, "Well, I know Bhagavad Gita. I read 11 versions and all this." He, without being asked, he started to give his. Well, at the end of the class, he gave his own commentary on it. So. Indian man.
Hello? No, he's not. Who's this?
There are all kinds of
Who's
Mayavadis.
this? Oh, there's Bhrgupati's here. You need to speak to him? Do you want to just
But
talk
the-
to him?
I heard what he said. I'll get
No, I don't
The effect of distributing Prabhupada's books has
I'll go get him. Tell him.
been tremendous in India. When I first went there, like I said, everyone would say, "You cannot be a Hindu. You have to be a born Hindu." And as soon as you try to talk about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then it's like almost inevitably you get people just coming back at you with all this Mayavad stuff. It's different now. People are ready to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Mayavad is bogus. It must be from distribution of Prabhupada's books, which is a lot of books have been distributed there. A lot of books. It's going on, so that's the effect I see. It definitely has its effect. And people say, well, in India also, and here also, people say, well, people don't read the books, but they do read the books. Maybe not everyone reads the books, but people are reading them.
And you never know who will get it.
Right. I picked up a book that someone had bought, and they hadn't read it, but I read it, and then I came to the temple, and then I joined.
Who's this?
So that happens all the time.
That's how I got Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, okay.
My first book.
Someone else bought it.
Yeah. A mother of a friend of mine bought the whole Bhagavatam set from a devotee on the street.
Oh,
I asked her, where did you get these books? Oh, my mom bought it from a guy she met in the street. The whole set thing.
empowered devotee to distribute so many books to someone who's not interested in them. But they found their way to who they were meant for.
Once mother of a Mataji, this woman, she was like so against devotees, and she she was so disturbed that her daughter was chanting Hare Krishna and wearing sari and hanging out with these Hare Krishnas. She was really against that. She was very, very disturbed by it. Then one day she met a devotee in the street, and she didn't buy books, but she bought some prasadam cookies for her. And then she came home, and her daughter noticed these cookies. Where did you get these cookies? She said, I bought it from the devotee. She said, why did you buy that? You hate devotees. She said, I didn't know it was so nice. I just had to buy it. I couldn't. I had to. Brahman or something. And she was so against devotees.
And she changed from then on? Or?
No, but she could not to buy something from him.
You gave something. It's lessening the sinful burden of the earth by distributing these books. People are very sinful. They take a book, they get not only freed from sinful reactions, but their consciousness becomes purified.
I was thinking when you were talking, you were saying how it's a cooperation. Sankirtana means cooperation. So these people, just because they're agreeing to cooperate and give a donation and take a book, the power of that transaction,
Yeah, whatever they've done into the material world up to now is just all inauspicious. It's the first positive thing or the first meaningful thing they've ever done in millions of lifetimes.
And then it affects others.
And for them, they just think, they may not register. Of course it doesn't register. They don't know the significance of what they're doing. Yeah, it's all cumulative, affects others. So all glories to the Sankirtan devotees. You spend a lot of time here still, Vijay Prabhu?
Yeah, it's just my place. I travel a lot still.
You do travel a lot now, yeah.
Well, it's having difficulty finding someone to travel with him.
Well, no.
Wherever you go, the devotees look after you, right? Sometimes. And they give their prasadam? Sometimes. Depends where you go. If you go like in Eastern Europe, Western Europe's tough. But mostly you're leaving that to Manidhar anyway, isn't it? Europe?
Yeah, he's doing
well. He's doing well.
You tried to mess up what's going on, man? What's going on? You're very quiet here. You guys gone down to South America for a week or two?
Some of the temples started to wake up down there.
Brazil's starting to kind of wake up a little bit. It used to be huge.
Yeah. It still could be, no doubt.
Chile, Chile's doing all right.
Where are you going there, DJ? Where are you going?
Brazil. In Chile.
Go to bed?
To the bed. In 3 weeks.
I guess it's a bit of a difficult job being book distribution minister in North America, where most of the temples they kind of forgot about it.
Well, basically, he's
Yeah.
good there for it.
Yeah, he gets people fired up.
He's real good. He's active. He travels around to different places.
Mm-hmm.
So some reports from the lecture going there for a few days at the weekend.
Recently, or that was
Yeah, he started Shastra down there.
just last weekend or something?
Yeah, just before he went there, we spent maybe like 2 hours on the phone. He was asking all different kinds of details about the program.
Yeah, that's what it's getting down to in America. Weekend warrior, Shastra down and that. Not people going out one-on-one.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Because there's no brahmacharis.
No brahmachari.
Yeah.
Whatever, if the books are going out.
Yeah, it's kind of like more like a trickle.
The Shastradhan has potential.
Yeah, if it becomes something. But the problem is that finding people to do it is like.
Yeah. It needs someone to dedicate.
Mahatma left here and they were trying to get someone to do it here and no one got no one. So
And then it just
wanted to do
collapsed to a large extent.
Whatever it is,
There's
need someone to do it. And generally it's a brahmachari.
Well, I've been invited to go to Denver, to Miami, and to Laguna Beach, and to San Jose after Vaisheshan comes back from India after the Kartik.
Yeah.
They all said that they have the anchor person.
You have that person?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, Jai, let's do what we have to do.
Should I take a picture of three of you?
Oh, Govinda, Gopala,
Where will you
Yesa
be?
Madhava.
Where will you be, Bhami Bhaja Prabhu?
Huh?
Where will you be today? You're up in the BBT or what? You're up in the BBT, is it?
That's where I stay, right next to Sura's office.
Oh, that's your residence.